And how have you found leadership as a style evolving from an academic setting to industry?
Yeah, I think that academia is very different, right? And what leadership means in academia is very different, I think. I don't think they necessarily translate. You have to tweak it quite a bit. I'd say, I think my leadership style in both, there's similarities, but they're also very distinct modes. And I think...
It's interesting.
Yeah, it's interesting. I'm learning a lot. The problem with academia in some sense is that the products are not tangible, right? I mean, if I tell you what's the value of a Nature publication, it's valuable, but it's hard to really quantify. And two Nature publications may mean totally different things. You see it all the time. One may be a groundbreaking piece of work that changes the world, and the other is forgotten in 2 years, both in a prestigious journal.
You won't know publishing them in your own mind, right? I imagine you won't think, that one will definitely.
I'd like to think I do, right?
Just interested.
I think I have a better grasp of how my work will translate and the impact of it. But as a field, right, it's hard. But even your own work, it's hard to know. So I think that science, academic science is very different because the incentives are very different. The incentives are often very intangible. So what does a high-profile publication mean? What does even tenure mean? What does promotion mean in an academic setting? It's just very, very different. It's not bad. It's just very different. One drawback, I think, to academia is that those are intangibles, but there's also a commonality, which is that a lot of it is prestige and status. And I like to read Naval Ravikant, who's one of the tech innovators, tech, Silicon Valley innovators, and he says he doesn't like status games because status games are inherently zero sum.
Yeah.
And he says he likes wealth games.
In what sense?
And he says that wealth games, generating wealth, he likes that, but in a very broad sense, not just money. But he says that he likes wealth games because in the modern era, where wealth is generated through technology, wealth games are actually positive sum. They're not zero sum. It's kind of interesting.
So you're thinking with the end in mind almost.
Right.
The go-to-market strategy.
There's no end, right? Like, so it's not zero sum. So if you develop a drug that cures eczema, it doesn't take anything away from me.
Yeah.
Right. I have an opportunity to develop another drug that might actually even help me. I might get an idea from that. And so I think the scalability has always been kind of a fundamental tenet of pharmaceuticals, is that the drugs are helping people in your sleep. Yeah. Whereas being a dermatologist is not really scalable. I can only see so many patients in a day as an individual. And I think that therefore there's a fundamental difference where you have much more of and as Charlie Munger says, show me the incentive and I'll show you the outcome, right? Yeah. So the incentives are very different in academia, and therefore the outcomes also are different. Or you might say it the other way, the outcomes are different, so the incentives are going to be different. And I think and then in industry, it's very different. So from that standpoint, I think leadership means different things because you have to know, to be an effective leader, you have to know what the incentives are.
Yeah.
You can't be clueless to that, right? So, and I think you have to figure out what motivates people in different ways. So what motivates the postdocs in my lab are very different from, say, the scientists on the team in our biotech company, Alys Pharmaceuticals. One's not better than the other. It's just there's different motives because they have different mindsets about what the incentives are.
Yeah. And I suppose a product is scalable. Your time isn't. So it's about how you apply that. Yeah. It's really interesting, actually.
Absolutely.